You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome to this week's episode of Be Humane on Pet Life Radio. This is your host, Dr. Robin Ganser. Thanks so much for listening to this week's incredible episode with one of my good friends and American Humane Ambassador, Lorenzo Borghese. Much for Lorenzo to share on his updates with his rescue work around the country. He's one of those gallant, dashing heroes for animals who we love to celebrate and we love to champion. He's a wonderful example of how people can help change the world one animal at a time. Well, today we're also talking about dogs, and we all love dogs on Pet Life Radio. Friends, I have a very special dog story to share with you, MWD Bach. MWD Bach bravely served our country, and now American Humane is helping to serve him. Like their human counterparts, life-saving military dogs can sustain lasting and serious wounds on the battlefield, and then suffer health challenges in their retirements. To ensure that these courageous canines receive the veterinary attention and care they richly deserve, American Humane provides financial grants and awards to provide for life-saving veterinary treatment. More on Bach's story after we finish the interview with Lorenzo. And I'm going to tell you, friends, it's quite something. Bach is an American hero, and American Humane is proud to help support him in his retirement with life-saving veterinary care. We'll be back after this very brief message to hear from Prince Lorenzo Borghese, and at the end of our episode today, you'll get to hear more about MWD Bach. We'll be right back after this message.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
I love cleaning the litter box, said no one ever. Luckily, there's World's Best Cat Litter, the litter that promises less mess with less litter. Only World's Best Cat Litter uses the concentrated power of corn to quickly trap odors in tight clumps. And quick clumping means you never have to chisel or scrape the box. Less cleanup with less wasted litter? That's a litter bit amazing. Save $2 on World's Best Cat Litter. Visit www.saveonworldsbest.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Be Humane on Pet Life Radio. This is your host, Dr. Robin Ganser. So thrilled to have you back to this week's incredibly inspirational talk with Prince Lorenzo Borghese. Lorenzo, it's so great to have you back on our show. Thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for all you do for the animals.
Well, Robin, I'm always happy to be back on your show, and thank you goes out to you and your wonderful organization for all you do for animals.
Well, you're so gracious as always. Oh, Lorenzo, I have to, again, just thank you for what you've done for an incredible group that's been an inspiration of mine for the past 4 years, and that's Animal Aid USA. They have done some amazing work. You've been one of their leaders out there championing the cause to eliminate gas chambers and shelters across the country, certainly with rescues and all sorts of work that they've done to save animals in the South by bringing them up to the North for adoptions and rescues. Tell us, what's an update? What's happening with our wonderful friends at Animal Aid USA?
Well, we started the organization in 2012. I co-founded it with Karen Talbot, who number one goal in life is to make the U.S. a no-kill nation. I'm sure just like your goal and a lot of people out there listening. So since 2012, we've actually saved a little over 16,000 dogs and cats from being euthanized. And what we do is we transport them from our facility in Georgia up and down the East Coast, primarily up to New Jersey and actually even down here in Florida. And next weekend we'll mark this big event that we're having. It's our ribbon cutting ceremony where our property there has just been redone, and we redid the shelters, and we also created a little camp there where our volunteers can spend the night and interact with the animals and actually stay there for a few days for free. And if they find an animal that they love, they can bring them home. And so that's how we actually vet the families that come down there, because obviously if they spend a few days there, we can see them interacting with the animals and realize that they can make a good home for those animals. Additionally, I know you do a lot with soldiers suffering from PTSD, and what we're doing as well is we're having some soldiers come to the property and spend some time down there, and if they find a dog or cat that they want to bring back, we will make sure that they get that dog or cat. So next weekend, we have over 150 volunteers that are partaking in it. We have 14 transport vehicles, then we have another 7 cars and 15 airplanes, and over 400 dogs that we're transporting out of southern Georgia into new homes.
Wow. Wow. Well, boy, this organization has come a long way in just 4 years. 16,000 animals, Lorenzo? That's stunning.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, you've been a big help with, grant money and spreading the word. And I have to thank you for that. And, and you've also come down there once with us, which we really appreciated. And, it's just grown. We've had a lot of press, which is good. And we've been on TV numerous times. And fortunately, a lot of people have donated to our organization. And, I've got a great leader, which is Karen, who really works probably 16 hours a day in finding homes for these animals that come into our shelter every day.
I think that's tremendous. It's a tremendous story of a victory for animals, too, because I know that when Miracle Ranch was first a dream, it was a couple hundred animals here and there that were, against all odds, their lives being saved, given a second chance at life. And now, 4+ short years later, your numbers are stunning. And most importantly, a dream come true with your ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yeah, we're extremely fortunate and happy with what's happening. And the other great thing is that everyone that works with us is a volunteer. So these people that drive down on the weekends come down with their children and, and husbands and wives come together. And sometimes they just come down to help. But usually when they just come down to help, they end up with a dog or cat on their way home. so that's always great too. And I'm sure that you know how that is. And
I do.
It's just a really, really great group of people who love animals and want to help and do all they can to help. And it's been fun doing it, but I never thought we'd grow as quickly as we have and become this big. The first time I did the caravan was Thanksgiving in 2012, and I think we had 4 cars driving from New Jersey to Georgia, and we didn't even have a facility. We were just pulling dogs at that time. And now we have our own facility, and now we also have a place where people can stay in our facility and adequate shelters for these animals. Unfortunately, as of last year, we had a shelter, but it wasn't enclosed. So in Georgia, it gets really hot in the summertime and cold in the winter. And people thought, it's really cruel to keep animals in this condition. But we come back and say, hey, we can only do so much with the amount of funding we have. At least we're saving these animals and we're transporting them to good homes. Yes, they have to stay on the property for a few weeks in order to get their certificates and get spayed or neutered or, any type of treatment, but at least they have a chance. But now they have a chance with good living conditions while they stay on our property, which was our goal. So we're very excited about it. And again, I want to thank you for helping and coming down with us. And that seems like a lifetime ago that you came, but it was, you were one of the first.
Thank you.
To see what we were doing.
Well, I'm so proud to know you and so proud to know Karen. How did you and Karen meet? I mean, to have 2 great animal champions meet and then have this energy to create this, it had to be something special to meet Karen and to, have your paths cross.
Yeah, well, it was strange. I was in New York and I was at a dinner it was a benefit dinner and it was a charity in New York, and someone came up to me and said, I know that you're involved with a lot of animal rescues here in New York. I've got a friend of mine. Her name's Karen. She lives in New Jersey. She's doing an incredible job down there. Would you mind if I introduce you by email? And I said, absolutely not. So the next day I got an email from Karen. I said, Karen, if you want to come to New York and meet for lunch, I'd gladly meet you. And she came up, and at that time she was doing this all on her own. And her organization was called MOMS, which stood for Making a Miracle Stories. And she was going down with a couple of cars a month, going to Georgia, pulling dogs and bringing them up to New Jersey. And essentially she picked Georgia because unfortunately, it's one of the top inhumane states with how they treat animals. So she did all the research and said, I want to really start saving animals from Georgia. Additionally, there was demand in New Jersey for dogs, but there wasn't a supply. So she says, I'm just going to bring the supply to where the demand is. And she started this organization and she made a movie, and I saw it the day she came up. She dropped it off and I watched it. I said, this woman is really incredible and I want to help her. So I just called her up and I said, we need to rebrand MOMS because it sounds like it's a PTA or something for children. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like it's an animal-focused charity. So we then began Animal Aid USA in 2012, and she's done an amazing job, and I'm just happy to support her. And truthfully, I only go on about 4 caravans a year, and she does about 14.
Wow.
So it's a lot easier for me. I actually drive from Florida to Georgia, and she drives round trip from New Jersey to Georgia every 28 days.
Wow.
So
wow.
Incredible.
Well, Miracle Ranch, I know, is a dream come true for both you and Karen. If someone wanted to make a donation to continue the fine work of this incredible transport operation, shelter and rescue operation, no-kill operation, where would they go to make a donation to Animal Aid USA?
They can just go directly on our website, animalaidusa.org, and there's a PayPal link there, and there's numerous ways you can make a donation. And if anybody ever wants to come on our caravans, they can also email us, and we can send them the schedule. And everyone is welcome to come, as long as they are a volunteer and love animals, they are welcome.
That's fantastic. For those of you that want a hands-on experience, I can tell you there's nothing better than giving animals a second chance at life and really driving them to a better future, a future of hope and a future of compassion. Lorenzo, one thing that we did together that I know that you launched with Animal Aid USA Moms way back in the day was the campaign to get rid of the gas chamber. And many of us in the animal space understand that gas chambers were the way to euthanize animals for years, for decades. And it's so inhumane, so awful, so reprehensible. And we've come so far in the animal community space, in the animal welfare space, to recognize that that's just not the way to go. It's just not the right thing to do. You championed this cause. Can you share with our listeners your passion to end gas chambers?
Sure. I didn't even know that gas chambers existed. The only time I'd heard about gas chambers was, horrifically, from World War II. I didn't know that we were gassing animals from the United States. Obviously, it's horrific to what happened to people being gassed. I mean, I can't think of a worse way to die. But then realizing that we're here in the United States and we're supposed to be this incredible country, but we're gassing our animals. And I'm one who understands that when there's an overpopulation, it needs to be maintained. And I'm not saying to kill animals is a way to maintain them. I'm saying we should have laws, spay and neuter laws that help bring down the population, things like that. I know everyone cares about this, and it's easily done. I just don't know why we haven't incorporated these laws. If the majority speaks, which is about the United States, you would see that over 90% of the people agree that the spay and neuter law should be implemented. But besides that, I was shocked to see videos, and they're online, and I had to see a video just to believe it, of what they were doing to these animals. They put them in gas chambers, a bunch of them at a time, and turn on the gas and walk away for 30 minutes and come back, and these animals would all be dead. And the reason why it's so horrific is because these animals really suffer. Their body functions go out before their brain functions, so they know what's happening. It's just a really awful way to die. So, my whole goal, and yours was too, when you joined us with this, and I know that you still care about this, was that if you're going to put down an animal, please do it humanely. And a gas chamber is not humanely and has to be stopped. And since then, since you joined us, it has been banned in numerous states since that time, including North Carolina, which was a horrific state of doing it, and Pennsylvania. And now that it's still legal in a few states. I believe, unfortunately, South Carolina still does it. And, our goal is to just end it all across the United States. But people are listening, and once people are armed with information, they can make a change. So that was my goal, was just to tell people what's going on. And we have people sign petitions. We go on to, gas stations, truck stops, restaurants, and have people sign petitions. And, everyone I spoke to had no idea that this was happening. And when they found out, they wanted to do something. And fortunately, it's just about gone, but it's still being used in some states.
I think it is probably shocking to some of our listeners that it does still go on in some states in our country. It's shocking because it is such a lack of compassion, such a lack of love for animals to euthanize them in that horrific way. So thank you for your leadership on that, Lorenzo. It's outstanding to have the progress that you've experienced. And I'm so honored to be on that tour with you in North Carolina, where you brought the gas chamber from up north down the East Coast to showcase it. And I know that your presence there helped to drive change in my home state. So I'm grateful for what you did to make that happen.
Well, as always, I appreciate you joining us and carrying. And as I said, you were one of our first volunteers, Robin. So, it was great having you, and you helped spread the word of Animal Aid USA like you're doing now. And it's always greatly appreciative. And I'm a big fan of the American Humane Association as well. And you guys do incredible work, from not just rescue work, but, what's going on in the farms in the U.S. is just horrific too. And I think it's so interesting now is, I didn't realize this when I was a little kid, when you're eating, eggs or eating meat, that these animals were treated so inhumanely. And now with the internet, you're seeing what's going on on these farming practices. And again, I'm a realistic person, and I realize some people are always going to eat meat, some people are going to like eggs, but there's a way to do things humanely, and we shouldn't act like animals and be greedy and just do it the most inexpensive way possible. And unfortunately, a lot of people care more about the money than about doing things properly. If we go ahead and poll the average American, you will see that, and I'm making up numbers, but I don't think I'm off, but I would say at least, 90% of Americans, if they would see how these animals are treated, would want laws to stop it. And, and I think it's going that way. And with what the American Humane is doing is, bringing light to the issues and, fighting for these animals, because these animals can't speak. And without you guys, they still wouldn't be able to speak. So what you're doing is incredible, and trying to change the laws in Washington, which is almost, you're really running up a very steep hill. And I never understand why these people that we put into power, that we vote in, don't listen to us and help you and everyone else change these laws and make things better for animals in the world.
Because I know when we make things better for the animals, it makes us all better humans. That's for sure. Absolutely.
We're all in this world together, and it works much better when we all get along and we treat each other humanely. And I think it just makes for a more peaceful, friendly, happier planet.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate you mentioning our work on farm animals. We oversee the largest farm animal certification program in the entire world. Every night I go to bed and I worry about over 1 billion farm animals that our teams oversee at American Humane to ensure they're humanely treated. And for those listeners, if you want to know what is a humanely treated animal, visit our, American Humane website and hit it on our farm program, and you will see a list of producers, farmers and ranchers who stepped up to do the right thing to treat their animals beautifully. So proud that such groups as Springer Mountain Farms, Eggland's Best, Hellman's Mayonnaise. If you buy Hellman's Mayonnaise, there's all American Humane certified eggs, and Butterball. I'm so proud that Butterball Turkey is all American Humane certified. They treat their animals beautifully, and it's all audited, independent, third-party audit, independent boots on the ground, where we go and make sure that what we say should be done in terms of treating animals humanely is actually in practice being done. And it's an incredible value set that we share with these leaders in the farm space. And they're helping us change the entire space, because we needed some examples to showcase that you can do the right thing by your animals and that it's good for us people too. And I'm really proud of those producers and those farmers and ranchers doing the right thing by their animals. And I appreciate you mentioning that, because people don't often talk about that, but it is an important part when you're working in the animal space to understand there's more farm animals out there than cats and dogs, and it's a lot of work to do with all animals and all species.
Well, I keep seeing all the work you're doing, so I just love it. And if these animals could talk, they would thank you as well. And again, you're bringing awareness to what's happening, and when people are aware of something, usually if they're good people, they want to change it. First, they're shocked that this is actually happening, and second, they say, you know what, I really want to do something about it. And you're allowing them to see what's happening and to get involved and sign petitions, and also help your cause by granting funds to you guys so you can continue doing this great work. But love what you do, and obviously you do a lot of rescue as well, and you give grants, and I like what you're doing with the military as well, with the PTSD veterans and helping them find the right companion for them, and also helping the dogs that go to the PTSD soldiers. And you guys do a ton of things, and it's all wonderful. And and what you're doing now, just with your radio show and everything else, is amazing. And obviously your book, which I read. So
thank you, and thanks for the endorsement. I've got a couple more books in the hopper I'm going to send your way to see if you'd be so kind to endorse. So more to come. Thank you, sir. Well, Lorenzo, what I also love is you've got a beautiful pet product line. Can you share with our listeners all about your pet product line?
Sure. I have a line called Royal Treatment, which I started from my dog back in 2002. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2005, but it's just a natural pet grooming line that's made in Italy with 8 organic ingredients. And I just made it because she had dry skin and I wanted her to feel better. And I came up with a formula and took it to HSN, which is the Home Shopping Network, and launched it there. I never really expected it to do as well as it did, and it started doing really, really well. And all of a sudden I was in the pet industry, and I never expected to be in the pet industry. I just expected to make a shampoo to make my dog feel better. And how one thing leads to another. So because I was in the industry and because I really fell in love with this dog, it was the first dog that I actually owned. I always grew up with animals, but this one was mine. I got her for my 21st birthday, and she's my best friend, and anyone that has a dog can relate to it. You really don't understand what it's like to experience having a dog in your life until you do it, and it really does change you. And when she developed dry skin, I wanted to help her because she was scratching all the time, and I felt she was uncomfortable, and I made a formula for her, and it really helped. And then because of her, I started doing research on the industry, and that's how I started becoming aware of all the cruelty that was happening to these dogs and cats in the U.S. And these, I learned about kill shelters, I learned about the gas chamber, and I learned about how much spay and neuter can really help control the population. And I started doing all this research, and she was the reason why I do what I do. Again, if you told me when I was in college that I'd be doing a pet product line and starting an animal charity, I would have told them they were crazy. I wasn't even thinking about that. I always thought I'd be, on Wall Street or something. So I thank her every day for sort of guiding me into this direction.
I love that story, and that your journey is inspirational. It's so wonderful, Lorenzo. Well, I have to ask you.
She actually is on my desk right now. I have a frame for her on my desk, so I see her every day.
I've got a framed photo on my desk of my family with 2 elephants. And every day I think about the work of conservation too. So it's a great reminder to wake up every day and see a photo of an animal and that can inspire you. And so these elephants get me going every single morning to fight for all animals, all species, and certainly to fight in the space of conservation, which is one of our newest areas.
I saw that too. And obviously, who doesn't love an elephant? What an incredible creature. And I've seen so many videos of elephants, a baby elephant being reunited with the mother, or elephants that, went into a circus and then they're reunited 20 years later or 15 years later, and they remember each other and they're happy. Everything from the elephants to the bears, to the tigers, to the lions, to all these endangered species now. And what they're doing in the rhinos for their horns, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
On that note, I would say 99.9% of the world wants these poachers to be, to stop, and it still happens. And someone has to lead the cause to stop them. And again, I thank you for the great work you're doing for it and helping these animals as well. They desperately need our help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lorenzo, can you give all of our listeners again the website to go and donate to the Miracle Ranch with Animal Aid USA?
Sure. It's animalaidUSA.org. And then there's some videos and more information about the organization there.
It's wonderful. Well. And congratulations on the new Miracle Ranch and your ribbon cutting that's coming up in a very short amount of time. And congratulations, both you and Karen, 16,000 animals. I think there's a special place in heaven for you both for your incredible work in making all of our world more humane. So thank you for what you are doing, your leadership.
Well, that place will be right next to yours, Robin.
Well, thank you. I hope so. We've got a lot more to do, that's for sure. We sure do. But Lorenzo, so proud to know you. And any final words that you would challenge our listeners to do to wake up tomorrow morning and do for animals?
Yeah, I would here's what I always do is, just spread the word. I bet everyone has a Facebook page or an Instagram page, and just post pictures of animals and just remind everybody to adopt, spay, and neuter. And if you see any stories, if you see any petitions, and the American Humane Association sends out a lot, please share those with your friends, get the word out, because when you don't go ahead and educate other people can't do anything because they're not aware of it. So just make people aware, and obviously when people are aware, they want to help. So that's what I can recommend to everyone.
That's wonderful. Well, Lorenzo, thanks so much for joining us for this week's episode of Be Humane on Pet Life Radio. Always a joy to hear your voice and hear what's going on. And I look forward to seeing you soon on our travels. And again, we're so glad you could be on.
All right, Robin. Thanks for having me on. Have a great week.
Thank you. And for listeners, we'll be right back after this message. You're listening to Be Humane on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
July 25th, 2006, we adopted April. She's a purebred, orange and white, Brittany. But when she started scratching like crazy, I said to John, it's got to be her food. What you put into a dog is what you get out. We heard this radio commercial, and this woman was so excited about Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
I said to John, I'm getting this. So the Dinovite comes, and I thought, a light bulb moment. She loves her dog food. She always leaves a little bit in her bowl. So we added a huge scoop of Dynavite in it, and then we swished it around like gravy. She dove into that bowl. She licked it clean. She loved it. So that's been the routine for almost 10 years. April gets Dynavite for dessert. Her coat is now soft, it's silky, it's smooth. She even walks like a little princess.
859-428-1000.
On Dynavite, she's Little Miss Hollywood.
DINOVITE.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Be Humane on Pet Life Radio. This is your host, Dr. Robin Ganser. Isn't it always so inspiring, heartwarming to hear tales and stories from Lorenzo Borghese, a great animal advocate and champion for the voiceless. So proud to know him and so great to know that the Miracle Ranch is now becoming a reality. 4 years, 16,000 animals saved. It's an impressive record, and my congratulations to Lorenzo and Karen for leading this wonderful cause. Well, friends, at the very beginning, we teased you a little bit about MWD Bach. Let me tell you a little bit more about his story. You know, Bach is one of these special military working dogs, a 10-year-old German Shepherd who served as a patrol drug detector dog for 9 years. Throughout his tenure in his work, Bach supported over 650 missions, detecting deadly contraband, providing security to warrants served, and tracking fugitives, those bad guys. Bach was paired with the handlers, Staff Sergeant Matthew Adams in 2012, and the duo worked together until Bach was medically retired in 2016. And that's when Matthew adopted Bach. Tragically, soon after he retired, Bach was diagnosed with a rapidly growing, highly invasive form of cancer. How heartbroken Matthew and his family was. So he immediately began aggressive chemo treatment, which American Humane is delighted to pay for. We believe that our country's four-legged veterans deserve to retire in comfort and free of pain. And we're hoping and cheering for Bach as he continues his fight in the battle against cancer. You know, friends, every single military working dog that comes to me asking for veterinary care in their retirement, we gladly for. It's part of our military program. Not only do we support reunifications of war dogs with their former handlers, we pay for retired MWD's medical care, no matter where they are in this country. We, these four-legged veterans, deserve this. They deserve to be able to have a retirement in comfort and ease, and their handlers deserve not to be burdened with their financial cost from a medical situation. So on behalf of all of us at American Humane, we're cheering for Bach, we're cheering for Matthew Adams, and we're cheering for all the MWDs and their handlers. We want them all to be able to retire in comfort and dignity and know that American Humane is there to support them. Well, friends, I'm so glad you were able to listen to this week's episode of Be Humane on Pet Life Radio. Hope you'll tune in next week to another exciting episode, much more to come, and much more to share about our animal world. Thanks for listening. Remember this week and every week to be humane, and remember to show kindness and compassion to everyone around us. These animals make us all better humans. Thanks. See you next week.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.